Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. Pope Francis says that next year's National Eucharistic Congress in the United States will mark a significant moment in the life of the Church in the US. The Holy Father made his comments to members of the event's organising committee who are in Rome this week. Over 80,000 pilgrims are expected to attend the Congress that will take place between July the 17th and the 21st in the city of Indianapolis in Indiana. It's the US Church's first National Eucharistic Congress in 83 years. Pope Francis told the organisers that it is in the Eucharist that we encounter the Lord who sacrificed himself to give us life and who loved us to the end. The Pope also blessed a large monstrance that will be used during the Eucharistic Congress. The Ukrainian military is claiming to have captured 8 villages in the first 2 weeks of its counteroffensive against Russian troops in the east of Ukraine. In total, Ukrainian military officials say they've captured 113 square kilometres in the past fortnight, with, they say, the biggest blow against Russian forces still to come. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his nightly video address that his country's military was moving forward in some sectors and defending against intensified attacks in others. The governor of Mississippi has signed a proclamation designating the month of June as Sanctity of Life Month. This is the second year in a row that Governor Tate Reeves has approved such a designation. This June marks the first anniversary of Roe v. Wade being repealed. That was the 1973 US Supreme Court decision that enshrined abortion as a constitutional right across the United States. It's estimated that over 30,000 unborn lives have already been saved as a direct result of the overturning of Roe. At the signing ceremony in Mississippi, Governor Reeves said that his state must continue aiding mothers and children through policies of compassion. Ugandan authorities say that they have arrested 20 people suspected of having been involved in perpetrating a massacre at a school on Friday night near Uganda's border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's thought the attack upon the Lubarira secondary school was carried out by the Islamist group Allied Democratic Forces. Of the 42 people killed in the attack, 37 were school students. Those detained for questioning are mostly students, but they also include the school's headmaster. Catholic rights activists say the Pakistani government is misusing anti-terror laws in order to accuse non-Muslims of blasphemy and are doing so due to pressure from radical Islamist groups. On Saturday, Pakistan's government struck an agreement with one of the country's leading Islamic political parties, which suggests using Section 7 of the country's Anti-Terrorism Act upon those suspected of defaming the Islamic prophet Muhammad. The Lahore-based Centre for Social Justice estimates that nearly 2,000 people have been charged with violating blasphemy laws between 1987 and 2020. Many of those blasphemy cases are still unresolved. Canada is imposing economic sanctions on 7 Iranian judges in response to suspected human rights violations. The Canadian government say the move will forbid business with judges and will freeze any Canadian assets that they might have had. The measure is the 12th such package of sanctions levied by Canada against Iran since October of 2022. The United Nations is warning that the Taliban's treatment of Afghan women and girls could amount to, quote, gender apartheid. The UN's Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Afghanistan, Richard Bennett, told the organisation's Human Rights Council in Geneva that grave, systematic and institutionalised discrimination against women and girls is at the heart of the Taliban ideology and rule. The Islamist Taliban took over control of Afghanistan in August 2021, following the withdrawal of US troops from the country. One US firm says it will give staff a $5,000 bonus whenever they have a baby or adopt a child. The announcement by the online marketplace company Public Square comes in response to other big American businesses subsidizing staff who wish to have an abortion. Explaining the company's decision, Public Square's founder and chief executive, Michael Seifert, said strong families make for a strong nation. Public Square was launched on July the 4th of last year. It allows users to find local and national businesses with traditional values. There's media speculation that the UK government will soon issue new guidance to counteract the so-called transgender lobby in English schools. According to reports, the expected guidance will advise teachers to tell parents when their child questions the reality of their gender, regardless if the child objects. Teachers will additionally need parental consent to acknowledge and use a student's preferred personal pronouns. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has previously expressed concern regarding schools excluding parents from such life-altering decisions. Multinational companies including Amazon, Accenture and Adidas are promising to hire and train more than 250,000 refugees over the next 3 years. The commitment was made at the 10th European Business Summit in Paris upon the eve of World Refugee Day on June the 20th. Meanwhile, PepsiCo, Starbucks and Hilton are also promising to hire more than 13,000 refugees and train another 86,000. Amazon say their package of help to refugees will include assistance with legal fees, counselling, mentorship, training programs and language services. An appeal court in Hong Kong has denied a legal bid by the businessman Jimmy Lai to stop police from examining his mobile phones. The 75-year-old, who's a Catholic, has been detained in a maximum security prison since December 2020 under Hong Kong's controversial national security law. Since then, Mr. Lai, who is the founder of the now-defunct pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily, has been challenging police efforts to scrutinise 2 of his mobile phones seized during that arrest, citing that they contain journalistic material and thus should be protected under press freedom laws. Finally, the Knights of Malta have a new patron. He's Cardinal Gianfranco Ghirlanda. The 80-year-old Italian cardinal, who is a Jesuit, was appointed this week by Pope Francis. He will succeed the American Cardinal Raymond Burke, who had been serving in the post since 2014. The Sovereign Military Order of Malta is both a lay religious order of the Catholic Church and a sovereign state subject to international law. The organisation's patron, or Cardinalis Patronus, is the papal representative to the sovereign order and is responsible for promoting the spiritual interests of the order and its 13,500 members. Well, that's all for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.